I remember one time I had come to our church for a men's event that I wasn't speaking at, that I wasn't really involved with. I just wanted to hang out with our guys, see what God was doing. And I was laying on the couch watching a movie. It's a Sunday afternoon, hanging out like I would hang out with my family. And then I decided, oh man, I got to get up to the church. It starts in 10 minutes. So just like the rest of you. I didn't show up like hours early because I was speaking and do the sound check and do all that stuff. Like, just showed up. And I'll never forget the interactions. One of my friends I've talked to about it came up to me and goes, hey, what's the deal with the costume? I didn't know I was wearing a costume. I was just wearing the clothes I was wearing, and I wasn't speaking, so I hadn't really thought much about what did everyone think about what they would see when I got there. And so I was wearing shorts, and I threw a hat on because my hair was a mess. And he comes up and he goes, hey, you look really muscular. I thought that was great. He goes, is it part of your outfit? I was like, what? Come on, man. Then I had another guy come to me. We went to Israel together, so he had seen me in like my pajamas. So I'm thinking, he goes, you trying to connect with the young people? I was like, I am the young people. What are you talking about? And somebody else said, is this part of the speaking you're going to do tonight? And I was like, what is going on? And so I actually reached out to one of my friends who does know me pretty well, and I said, hey, this is my experience, and am I not being myself on the stage? And then we just started talking through about, well, you don't bring all of yourself anywhere. It takes time for people to gather that. You don't act the same at work as you do at home. And does that make you a hypocrite? You're a hypocrite if no one knows all of you. So authenticity is the birthplace of this even happening. And you know it's essential just in your experiences, even if you haven't been able to put words on it. And so maybe some of you have seen this before in a movie or somewhere, probably not lived it out, but if you have, I'm sorry. Where somebody sees someone else that they're attracted to, and they so want that person to like them that they become whatever they need to become. Have you ever seen Hitch? He's good at teaching people how to win, like start the conversation, but what they actually like is the person. Some people live the opposite of that. I'm going to pretend like I like the ballet. I'm going to pretend like I like classical music. I'm going to pretend, and then she falls in love with you, and then you get married, and you're like, I got to keep going to the ballet. Or tell the truth. And then eventually, you feel like, hey, you got what you wanted, right? But no one loves you. Why? Because they don't know you. But then you see these moments in the Bible where we see that God does know us, and he wants us to be in this authentic relationship with him. Not some made-up thing that we've seen and assimilated into and decided to fit the mold of. We got to pray in the King James. We got to not believe these things, not think that. But we don't just relate with him and have him speak to us, and then have your community help check you. And no, we just, this is what good people do, what bad people do. And we wonder why it feels so fake. I was meeting this week with a woman in our church who had come back to church after being away for 7 years. And she had walked away from church, walked away from Jesus. And she told me I could share this with you. And I said, tell me why you walked away. And she said, well, and then told me about people in our church, even in relationships. She goes, I didn't feel like they were any different than anybody else. Their marriages were the same. They just complained about a bunch of stuff. We get together to pray and just talk about all the bad stuff going on. It's like, where's the joy? Like, how are you not different? And so she's like, I didn't stop believing in God. I was just like, this Jesus and church stuff is maybe made up. Long conversation, lots of nuances. But I said, what caused you to want to come back? So God put people in my life, and I saw their faith, and it was real. And answered prayer. And a book that she read by a Christian author. And it is real. But you don't experience it real unless you're authentic, genuine. We value authenticity as a culture, not even just as Christians. We pay more for an authentic painting. We want the real thing, but do we even know what authenticity means when it comes to ourselves? That's the birthplace of intimacy, because you can't be fully known if it's not you you're presenting. We all have a persona. We all have things that people believe. I was talking to somebody this week. They said, I didn't get to hang out with them. They invited me to go grab a beer before a soccer game, and I was working. And then I saw him at the game. I said, sorry, I couldn't make it. I was working. The guy goes, your boss is more important than mine. He knows I'm a pastor. He's a Christian too. I said, well, you've got the same boss, so I Jesus juked him. Colossians 3, whatever you do, work as if you're working for the Lord, not for men. So. He goes, you got better access. I goes, well, actually, and he's like, well, all right, the curtain was torn. He had a good theology, but he wasn't applying it. And so we joked about it. And then he said some nice words about me, and I said back to him, I said, well, if you spent more time with me, you wouldn't think so highly. It wasn't me just being self-deprecating. It was, there's more to know. Does anyone know? If not, you're alone.